Dracula is dead, and the only person that can stop him from killing all the humans is his daughter. No, the only person who can stop his wife from killing all the humans is his daughter. Hello. I messed around with the demo for this upcoming Classicvania way back in Darkwave December, but I didn't make a video cause even more important projects for Halloween were getting shelved, and all I had to say was, I love the style, but the gameplay kinda missed me. And now I've played it 2 more times, so I'm going to say the same thing, but with much more detail, precision, and passion. There's only one issue I have with the presentation, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to bring it up today, but you know what? Here it goes. I don't get why the protagonist wears heels. If it's supposed to be cool, okay, that's fun. You know, Belmont walking in tall heels or boots or whatever they are. It's kind of like a flex. I like that. But if the point is to make the game feel more sexy, may I raise you some considerations? Lady Dracula opens up by enveloping the player in heavy, throbbing, dark synthwave beats, then presents the game's main menu in front of a field of beautiful, dripping rose petals. And when you launch the game, it shows you this beautiful world tarot adorned with this like nude, beautiful, dark lady thing, and it all starts like that. It is already so delightfully sensual. You don't need high heels to sell that to the player. This is such a crazy atmosphere. This game is literally gushing with tasty colors and charming flourishes and this captivating pseudo CRT screen effect that makes the whole thing feel extra unique. Level 1 is basically made up of 3 separate parts, but almost every one of them makes great use of this kind of scrolling effect that you get with the rounded, fake TV screen in front of you. It's really special. Walking across the moving train on top of it, or doing that upside down now and again, anything where you're doing horizontal platforming feels so cool with the subtle sense of momentum that this big rounded screen gives you. I mean, even when the gameplay isn't gripping me, this whole presentation, the chill to exciting synthwave, the CRT, the roundedness, the colors, it makes a really solid dream state, especially once it starts to like twist around and play with old ideas during the nightmare segment. It feels like an actual evolution of Classicvanias at that point. But unfortunately, I would need to be a little bit more into this gameplay to say I'm actually that excited for the full release. The big issue I had isn't that things were too easy or too hard, but it's just that I wasn't really invested in what I was doing very often. This ranged from the Donkey Kong Barrel Blast segments, which are mostly okay, you know, kind of fun, sometimes annoying, but then it stretches all the way up to the bosses, which is a much larger issue. The issue with the bosses is that I think there's the goal of having the player whip them a bunch of times and then get to the gimmick bubble and then whip them a bunch of times again, but it was just annoying enough to use the gimmick bubbles that I often didn't care, and I would just whip, and then one of us will die. Maybe I use the gimmick bubble one time, maybe I throw one scythe during the biker fight or something. It just felt a little watery and frictionless, and the thing is, I actually really like a lot of like the core foundation we have here. Not the gimmick bubbles. The gimmick bubbles are okay. They're kind of fun. It's a decent break. What I fuck heavy with is that you always have a throwing axe on hand. That is fun. So rather than sub-weapons per se, in this game you have your whip, you have a knife, and then you have throwing axes in the form of scythes or sickles or something, and only the throwing thing is tied to a resource of any kind. You have to manage your ammo for that, at least in level 1, but you don't have to manage ammo for the close range dagger. You just straight up have 2 to 3 attack options at all time, and that's really fun. I would often ration things such that I could pick off potential issues from afar with the axes while platforming, but then also I would just toss them whenever I want because it's fun. It was a really good balance. I've played other indie Classicvanias where you don't have enough resources to want to use your sub-weapons like that, but I was happy. I was always happy managing my ammo for the axes, and the axes weren't even the most fun innovation here. Having a free shank dagger is a really fun idea. Like, we're playing Call of Duty Zombies now. I don't know why, but we are, and it's very clever. The whip is great. The whip is usually the answer. If you're spacing things out right, the whip is strong, it's got the range. The whip is your bread and butter. But if you have a close call and the enemy gets too close, bam, bam, bam. The knife is shorter range, but similar damage, and it's really fast. And what's better is you can use it to break all the candles while you're walking around. So I felt so cool, so clever, so smooth when I would fight enemies with the whip. I would break candles with the dagger, and then, oh, you know what? We have time. I can throw my throwing sickle, take something out that way. That's new. I really enjoyed that flow. Can you imagine if you're playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and you get through all the projectiles to fight a Belmont and you think you're about to start comboing them, and then they pull out a pocket knife? Like, oh shit, sorry, put that down, I swear. We'll let you be B+ tier. We'll let you be B+ tier this season. I don't care, man. Just don't stab me. I've never had that thought before. So picture this, if you will. This is my galaxy brain moment for Lady Dracula. Imagine if the motorcycle boss stalked and he started to charge up some kind of powerful attack, right? This is a classic thing that happens in a lot of games, but you could picture it in the first level of Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 1 and 2. You've got the train boss and the dragon boss, where they will kill you with their hyper beam, but that leaves them vulnerable so you can get up close and use different moves. Some sub-weapons are excellent at punishing that from afar, but you also have the option of other things to use in that situation. With Lady Dracula, if you had a chance and the skeleton boss was paused close enough to the platform, you could shank him a bunch of times, and if you knew the frames tight, if you were tight enough with the frames, you could run away, right? And I feel like that speed would probably make it more, effective than the whip. But if you want to be safer, you could use the whip a bunch of times and then escape to the gimmick bubbles before you get totally blasted. By the way, this would make the gimmick bubbles mandatory. And if you had enough ammo, you could just throw scythes. You could do like whip, scythe, hop into the gimmick bubble before the super attack comes, and now you're using all of the mechanics in the game so much more mindfully. That is like, oh, I wish that were a thing so badly, but it's not. It's not. In fact, the only thing that I really felt that connected to the game with was specifically the rolling eyeball enemies. The enemies in this game were like, okay, I really didn't like the imp enemies, or the little flying devils. They were so big, they didn't really have any attacks, and they always went down in one hit, which I guess that works well for the auto-scrolling segment, but I don't know. I had 3 options to attack them with, and it never really mattered which one I used. It was almost like pushing past some leaves to move forward. I really enjoyed the hand stretching out of the ground, both in terms of design and like, oh, I should shank it. I should get up close and shank it a bunch. That was a fun passive enemy. The Medusa heads that were actually like bison skulls or whatever, they were cool. They were fine. I like they were very small and hard to hit. But the eyeball enemies were really, really good. There were moments where you had to deal with them as an obstacle, but there were also moments where you had to destroy them. And this was where you could enjoy the 3-weapon system, where if you're on your bullshit, you can use the whip, and that's fastest. It's a good range, 2 hits, but if it gets in too close, you might want to start shanking it, like 1 whip, 2 shanks or something like that. But even further, if you were proactive enough, you could throw a scythe, and the range means that it's not a great option all the time, but I had some really good moments where I had to get through that one room with a bunch of the eyes, and even though it took some patience, I was very happy to do it. Even if I got jank killed by knockback over it, It felt so much more fair than a lot of other instances of knockback in the game, which is kind of a side tangent before we finish. I genuinely love knockback in Classicvania games. There's just something about it. I am completely okay with that instant kill kind of feeling because generally it feels fair. But I didn't even know that Lady Dracula had this option. Very cool that you can toggle things. Very charming. 1987 version, 1997 version. I really like that, to be clear. But I didn't know that there was knockback till my third run. And I noticed that not very much seemed designed around knockback. And that's fine. I actually liked that it wasn't that hard most of the game. On my first two playthroughs, hard and easy, that's whatever. What annoyed me was that I think the only differences I clocked were when you do the Donkey Kong barrel blasts, those go from being you take a little damage for screwing up to you get killed immediately for screwing up. And I did not know that by turning on knockback, I was signing up for instant death barrel blasts, and that simply wasn't fun for me. I came to like the barrel blast bat moves. They're fine. It's a cool idea. But I did not like that. I did not like that. And I was getting ready to redo my whole run while I was recording B-roll for this on my third playthrough. But when I got to the part where you are waiting in the nightmare realm of part 2, I think it's part 2, of the whole level, and you're waiting for the bone platforms. They're going back and forth, and there's fire moving up and down. And the point is, with knockback on, you will be knocked to your death if you don't time it right. It's almost like Toho Luna Nights, but you have less control. And it's very slow. So I could not instinctively eyeball, like, okay, start riding the platform when the flame is high and then you'll be good. I just couldn't tell. I just threw myself into it a bunch of times. I did not have the patience to sit and watch it. It did not feel fun to sit and watch it. And sometimes if I held down, I wouldn't even get killed by knockback. So I could not respect that little puzzle thing. And I found out I could turn off knockback mid-game, which is great and nullifies all of that bitching. I actually ended up turning it back on in the next level because I saw some things where I was like, you know what? I really want to get killed by knockback on those things. But yeah, those two parts for the first chunk of the level, I just didn't feel worth having knockback on, didn't feel good, and nothing else was like, ooh, I'm gonna knock you back if you jump at me, too brave. Like, nah, it wasn't paying off. It did start to pay off on the eyeball section that I mentioned. I enjoyed those turning into instant death, and I clocked the guillotines. The guillotines during the platforming of the nightmare segment looked so fun. It looked so fun. I like that the guillotines generally aren't instant kill. That's fun. It's fun to work around those. But placing them where they would also knock back kill you, that's fun platforming. I didn't test to see if that's actually how it works, but I clocked that. I'm like, that looks really fun. So I ended up being like, tap me back in, give me knockback. Send me in there. So, Lady Dracula's demo left quite the impression on me. It reaffirmed that cool colors and moody atmospheres and synthwave are the best combination ever, and I'll probably wish I had a knife option every single time I break a candle in games going forward. Yeah, it's a fun demo for sure, and you should definitely check it out if you're anything like me. But I don't know if I'm going to be thinking about it that much until the full release, just because of the gameplay apathy I kind of felt. I don't know. It might just be one of those things where if I see it down the road, I see it. But for now, it was a neat little experience and a nice little dream. But I'm a little worried that I wouldn't be that passionate about the final product, gameplay-wise. Visually, sign me up, stick it in my arm, give me a music video or something. I'll be there for that.